And when I was being wheeled in, the nurse who came in to sort of get me from the room, you have to change into like a gown and get rid of all your clothing. And the nurse who came in said, "I remember you. I knew you when you were a teenager. I worked for your eye doctor." He said, "I remember you because you kept talking about how you wanted to be a director and how you wanted to make movies." And you got to imagine, an eye doctor that sees kids, must see 50 kids a day. And I don't wear glasses, so I probably only went to this eye doctor like once. But I obviously made a huge impression on this nurse with this huge dream that I had. I mean, enough so that, 30 years later, more, she was remembering me. And I said, you didn't work, for Dr. Harris, and in fact, she had worked for Dr. Harris, who was my eye doctor. So, it was a crazy idea. The whole concept of like wanting to go be a filmmaker is just a crazy, outrageous thing to set yourself out to go do. No different than, it's a smaller scale version of, Barack Obama saying, imagine, the day he sort of like told his family, like, I'm thinking of running for president, and how outrageous a dream that must have seemed, or almost anybody who's going to run for president, back when they make the decision, most of us have never heard of that particular person. So, but, my particular journey was one where I just never I never let up. I was just always determined to try to make movies. It never, ever worked out the way I thought it was going to work out. And that was a really important lesson for life, and it's one in which I actually try to use elsewhere. But, you set a plan for yourself, and I really did have a plan for how I was going to become a film director, and none of the things I planned for myself worked out. None of them. And eventually, as a sort of backup plan, I had this very small movie called Swingers. And I was just going to make it with my friends for no money, literally with no money, shooting it. It's about a group of young guys in Los Angeles, where I was living, going out into clubs and bars and trying to find love. And we didn't follow any of the correct protocol for how you shoot a movie in any way, because we didn't have any money to follow any of the correct protocol. And in fact, occasionally, because we're shooting in bars and things like that are open to the public, and I'm in my 20s, so my friends are going to bars, so occasionally we'd run into people we know, and I could just see the way they were looking at me, like this sort of pity, that like, oh my God, Doug thinks he's making a movie, he's lost his mind. Because I had this camera on my shoulder that was not suitable for shooting dialogue. It's what's called an MOS camera. It's meant for shooting silent movies. You can't shoot dialogue with it because it's loud. It sounds like a sewing machine. And so you would hear a sewing machine through the entire movie. If you tried to shoot a movie with this camera, but it's the only camera we had. And so I would take the camera and I would wrap it inside with I had a ski jacket, like a down ski jacket, and I would put that down ski jacket over it, and that wasn't quite enough, so I would bring my bedspread from home every morning to the set, and it was a white bedspread, and I would wrap that around the down jacket until eventually I had this big poofy white thing on my shoulder that Jon Favreau, who's one of the actors in the film and now a director in his own right, who did Iron Man, both Iron Mans, described it